Hello, everybody. Welcome to this video. This is Simi Arora, international life coach and yoga teacher. And today in this video, I am going to be talking about mental health and the way yogic philosophy and methodology can help us enhance our mental health and also the holistic well-being in our life. Now, a lot of you have been watching me talking about effect of yoga and several other practices on our mental health. I wanted to become more specific and I really wanted to share the top ways I have improved my mental health over the years. And not only just the mental health in form of being able to do my work effectively, being more productive, being more stable and comfortable, but also be able to get in sync with life a little bit more, be able to enjoy life in its fullest. And I thought, why not to just be real? Why not to just make the content that I am practically utilizing in my life every day? So I've been on this journey of yoga since 2018 when I got my teacher training done. More than the physical aspect of it, what I was excited was the mental effect, the way it impacts your mind, the way it impacts your emotions, the way it impacts your knowledge about who you are and how you should be living your life while you are in this physical body-mind experience. This spiritual context literally opened me to so many different dimensions of my own being and my ability to show up in the world, and my ability to connect with people, connect with life, and to overcome multiple obstacles in my life. I want to be real. I want to produce the content that is going to be the game changer, probably for some of you who are looking for this real information and the practical ways we should be utilizing these principles and these philosophies and practices in our life. So in this episode, we will touch upon the mental health, how to identify different challenges in your mental health, and how you should be using yoga and how this could be the best psychological intervention to help you uplift yourself, find more meaning and purpose in your life. So let's jump right into today's topic, which is about your mental health and how we understand the mind's working in yogic perspective. So now I'm going to be sharing with you the first three sutras that I was studying yesterday, how it gives us the instructions on understanding our mind and why we tend to create several kind of mental health issues and problems that also influences our physical health. Oftentimes people ignore the mental health because they think that mental health is only important for people who are diagnosed with it, maybe anxiety disorder, depression, schizophrenia, or any other mental health ailments. Yes, it is true that there are very specific type of mental health issues that are due to some genetic issues or, some environmental effects that have sort of like built very specific type of mental health issues. But all of us have a mental health and all of us feel the feelings and all of us experience different type of emotions throughout a day. So your ability to manage your thoughts and emotions and experience in your daily life is what mental health is about. So how do you know if you have a great mental health? There are some symptoms, there are some ways that you can look at it. When you're sitting with yourself, how comfortable you are within your being. How well do you sleep? Do you feel high drive, motivation, energy, and restfulness in your being? Or you feel a lot more anxious and fearful? If you feel fearful, anxious, restless, can't sleep, and not experience the way you want to experience success in your life, then oftentimes mental health is playing a big role in it. Because your mind and body are so interconnected, whatever is happening in the mind is also happening in the body. So there are physical symptoms that you can pay attention to. So if you experience frequent headaches, if you have body pains, joint pains, if you have digestive issues, or if you experience lack of sleep or inability to stay asleep, and several other types of physical symptoms such as heart palpitation, nausea, or a general feeling of restlessness could be the sign that you are going through some sort of anxiety. Since all of us have bodies and mind, we all have mental health. and we can always improve our mental health. And this is what is the whole point of doing these videos, and for the whole point of doing what I do, because the reason why I started my life coaching practice and motivating people through tons of content and online programs is because I went through a very difficult time with my mental health back in 2014. And that was an eye-opener for me to also understand how we can go through different types of experiences and get bogged down with variety of situations and circumstances that can affect our mental health. During my healing and working with the mental health, the most important role was played by yogic philosophies, principles, practices, and so many ways that I grew spiritually. It is because what affects our mind in making it work in our favor is also based on the knowledge of the mind. And knowledge of the mind is something that yoga philosophy can teach us very well. So I was practicing first 3 sutras of Patanjali sutras, and I was so inspired to share those with you. In terms of practically understanding how the mind operates, the most important learning here is that all the sufferings that we experience in our life is absolutely based out of our mental abilities. Mental abilities are the reason actually that we create joy, and is also the reason that we create suffering. So mental abilities are great, such as memory. Without memorizing something, you cannot build habits. You cannot have functional use of the mind. But memory is also something that could become the reason of remembering difficult times, challenges, and trauma that indeed can cause us difficulties in managing our emotions in the present. So an ability such as memory can also become a curse depending on how we use it. Yoga says that when you are able to restrain the modifications of your mind, you become in union with yourself or with the higher power, because your true self is always connected with that higher power, with the higher self. Mind is a place where there's eruption of thoughts and emotions, and mind is also the lens through which we see these emotions, through which we see these thoughts and make a sense of the world that we're living in. So mind is the interface between you and the life that you perceive. So if you're perceiving a life that is difficult, it is because your mind is creating that image for you, because the way you are processing certain thoughts. So there was a great example given by Sage Satchinanda. He said, while I was talking to the prisoners in the jail, the reason why you feel that jail is because of your mental conditioning. Only you believe that jail is a suffering, it becomes a suffering. Otherwise, the guards and the other people who are supporting the jail, they come every day and they also spend about 10 to 12 hours guarding these jails. For them, it is work. For them, it is a place they can go and earn money. But one can suffer being imprisoned just because they perceive it as to be a place where they have to be stuck. And if they can change their thoughts around being in the jail and use it as a time to modify their past behaviors, to let go of some of the mental tendencies and build a state of mind that is more restful, more purified, and allow the healing to come in, then that place could become a place for a reform, for a rebirth. So this was a great example of how we generally perceive things in our life. And there are 3 very specific things that were mentioned. Was that mind has 3 attributes that play a significant role. First is the ego. Second is the nature of clinginess. And third is the unsatiable desire. We have ego, which is our identity. So mind gets identified with a lot of things. When those identities are compromised in certain ways, you start to feel really angry. So if you identify yourself as a nationalist, as a particular caste or religion, or a particular status or label, if someone comes and attacks that, then obviously you become furious. it is true. And sometimes we can have very small beliefs that we can identify with. And those small beliefs can also create big conflicts. Second, the clinginess. Now, something that happened 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago could also be the source of pain because we are clinging to that emotion, clinging to that reason, clinging to that trauma. And one of these attributes of mind that can create the most pain is not being able to let go of what happened in the past. So the clinginess is the second reason. And third is the unsatiable desire. Desires are also the gateway to expand ourselves, right? If we don't have any desire, obviously we'll not do much in our life and we'll just continue to stay in the same zone. So desire plays a big role in expansion, but desire can also be the source of pain, especially when the desire is not met. When some of the desires that you really want to accomplish are not getting accomplished, you become very agitated, frustrated, angry. This was really interesting for me personally to also contemplate on and spend time reading and analyzing, because we always play into these vices all the time. And oftentimes when we experience suffering, when we experience any sort of agitation, frustration in our mind, which also impacts our relationships, our work life, our ability to grow, our productivity, our focus, our attention, is all coming from one of these vrittis, one of these modifications of the mind. What we need to really understand is that if I am struggling right now, if I'm having any sort of problem that I'm going through, it is not because problem is the reason of how I am feeling. The problem is a trigger. Indeed, it's a trigger, but life is a trigger itself. There is continuous challenge, there is continuous change in the outside world, and because I don't know how to manage myself, how to handle my thoughts, how to manage my emotions, I fall into the trap of this mental modifications. And that's why yoga is about restraining these modifications. Yoga is about letting go of unnecessary modifications and become one with your true self, one with your true nature. And your true nature is always peace, it's always harmony, it's always comfort, it's always purity, it's always truth. And how do we stay there? Is what the whole Patanjali Sutras journey is about, is the whole yoga philosophy and practices are all about. And I'm very, very honored and humbled to be sharing these with you with the best of my knowledge, because obviously it does need lots of research and practical implementation as well. And I promise you that whatever I'm going to be sharing with you, most of the stuff is going to be something that I've personally contemplated, used, and researched, because I want this to be a process where you feel fully involved and you understand and acknowledge that I have been on the same journey as you are probably right now. And we all are getting better every day. We all are trying to step out of our comfort zones to sort of find our own grounding and settlement in this physical dimension. In the next video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the practical ways to understand these modifications a little bit more in your physical world, and some of the applications that you can start apply immediately to see results. So I hope this video was interesting, this was helpful, and I hope that you're going to get on this journey with me, improve your holistic well-being, improve your self-worthiness, and have this amazing experience of this life, and also help other people do the same. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the episode number 2 very soon. Take care.